the top 10 NFL teams after week 3. What's going on, football fans? It's Mitch here, back with another NFL reaction. And in this video, I react to Colin Cowherd's top 10 NFL teams after week 3, entering week 4. If you enjoy reaction videos just like this, spike the like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more Colin Cowherd reactions and NFL power rankings, my personal power rankings, up on the channel right now. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. Do you agree with Colin? Do you disagree with Colin? Do you agree with my response about Colin's top 10? Let's get to it, man. Let's see who Uncle Colin is ranking inside his top 10 after 3 weeks of the 2024 NFL season. This will be interesting. It's all with Colin. So let's see who he's got. Let's go, man. Let's go.
These are not standings. Okay. That's the other place. I don't do standings. These are the best 10 games. Best 10 teams in the league.
Best 10 games, bro. We're talking about teams here, Colin. You're a professional. You messed up. We get it. Everybody messes up. Even me. It's okay. I'm just kidding. But the top 10 teams in the NFL. And I love that he said this. It's not standings, Durkant. It's not standings. Not everything is results. This team beat that team, so this team is third and this team is sixth. No, that's not how it works, jabronis. It's who you think are the top 10 teams in the league. Who you would favor over who they're playing, right? Like, if the Vikings and the Chargers are playing, are you favoring the Vikings? The Vikings are above the Chargers. The Bills and the Chiefs are playing neutral field. Who you favoring? That's how you do this thing, bro. And you're thinking about the past. You're thinking about the future. You're thinking about injuries. You're thinking about, how am I going to feel in 2 weeks by ranking this team at 13 when I could have ranked them at 8 and I could have had a take? That's how I think of it. There's so many factors going into my power rankings, and I'm sure Colin feels the same. Let's go.
And some are ugly, some are inartistic, but I tend to find a stat that means something, even if you got a couple of losses, and here we go.
A stat. That's interesting. I love this graphic.
Third hierarchy.
Time is now. Let's go.
The top 10
elite
NFL teams according to college.
Whoever made that graphic deserves a raise.
Number 10.
Okay, listen, it worries me.
The 49ers at number 10. Let's see what he has to say, but I rank them pretty low for my standard when it comes to the Niners. I think when they're fully healthy, they're a top 5 team. They're a contender, but they're not fully healthy. They just dropped a game they shouldn't have lost against the Rams. They lost to a good Vikings team. I mean, the Vikings look fantastic, so I'm not really going to hold that against them, and they were injured in that game as well without Debo and McCaffrey. I think the Niners will turn this thing around. I still think they'll be a playoff team. I'm not convinced, though, that they'll be a true contender just because it feels like they're going through a lot right now. They're going through a lot in terms of injury. And then also, the defense does concern me to a certain degree. I think they need to change some things up defensively. Let's see what Colin says about the Niners.
Me that it's the 5th loss when leading by 10-plus points in the 4th under Kyle Shanahan. But I said this. Finally, I look at Brock Purdy and see a franchise quarterback. No Kittle, no Debo, no McCaffrey.
Glad he finally got there because he was ripping, shredding Brock Purdy this offseason, and he would never give him any credit. And he even did it by omission. Like, he wouldn't include him on lists or talk about him on lists or rankings, and you knew he just wasn't a Brock Purdy guy. For me, like, Brock Purdy, that game against the Rams, that was one of the best games I've seen him play. From a creation standpoint, from an extension of play standpoint, from a rushing standpoint, from the ability to elevate players around him. I feel like Purdy, man, if he's playing like that, I don't care who's hurt on the Niners. They're probably going to make the playoffs. I really believe that that type of quarterback play can get you a long way. So if Purdy can continue to play like that at a consistent basis, they're going to be just fine. Obviously, their ceiling is dictated by, is McCaffrey there? Is Debo there? Are they healthy, right? I like that Colin is saying this, though, because it kind of provides you what's the floor for the Niners, assuming they have their quarterback. Every team kind of sucks without their quarterback.
McCaffrey, offensive protection at the line was okay, and he was dealing. And so to me, it's like, yeah, I know they keep losing, but the kid threw for 333 yards without his weapons. He had his number 3 receiver. Even Brandon Ayuk's not working.
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk's fat, bro.
They're going to get some of these guys back, but I'm sorry. I'm going to trust Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy at number 10 over Dennis Allen and Derek Carr. Niners at 10.
Very fair. Very fair. I think I have them at 9, so I'm not too far off here.
Number 9.
The New York Jets. Here's the...
And I actually have the Jets at 10, so that's interesting. So we flipped these two teams. The Jets, I still need more convincing. I still need to see that Aaron Rodgers is the guy that I saw on Thursday more consistently, because the guy I saw in the first 2 weeks compared to the guy that I saw on Thursday, it's a reason I bet the Patriots plus 6.5 was totally wrong, and I'm not actually that mad about it, because the Rodgers we saw in the previous 2 weeks made you believe that the Patriots could cover that game and it would be defensive and close, but the Rodgers you saw on Thursday night looked like an MVP. He was scrambling and extending plays, running, audibling at the line, doing his thing, controlling the game, accurate. Like, he looked like a top 5 quarterback in the league in that game. There's no doubt about it, especially the way quarterbacks are playing right now. Their O-line is pretty good. Their run game, they've got 2 dynamic running backs. Their receivers, I think they've got pretty good playmakers. Even Lazard looks decent, right? And then you got Mike Williams coming back, slowly, steadily coming back. Garrett Wilson will finally find that rapport eventually with Rodgers. It feels a little off still. And the defense had their best game by far against the Patriots. So if they continue to build on that, this team could be real dangerous, because they could be one of the most balanced teams in all facets, all assets in the NFL. So I like this, that they're inside the top 10. They're 2-1, so some people might not still believe that they should be there, but they're definitely top 10 to me. Like, just, I have them 10, but they felt pretty firm at 10. I just need to see a little bit more from Rodgers in terms of that elite play for me to put them even higher, I would say.
Here's the stat that I come back to. Aaron Rodgers on 3rd down this year has 118 passer rating. They have the best 3rd down offense, 57% in the league.
That's interesting. I did not know that stat. That's very interesting. I think a lot of that came against the Patriots, because Rodgers was dealing on 3rd down. He was breaking the Patriots back in that game on 3rd down. Just the ability to scramble and find that extra time, find Tyler Conklin open, do his thing that way. And then I think Rodgers is so good on 3rd down because he can recognize coverages at an elite level. He's very smart. And then he can understand which matchup he should go to in that situation. Very Brady-like, right? And then he can throw the perfect pass on a fade ball, a back shoulder. He's money on slants. Like, those routes that are 3rd down routes, deep out routes, back shoulders, right? Fades, slants. Those are 3rd down concepts, right? Rodgers is all time at those.
I have been a huge believer in this stat forever. If you're doing things on 3rd down, defense rests, builds confidence. It usually means you have a smart quarterback. You're good pre-snap. You're getting better than average protection. The Jets' 3rd down stat.
I agree with a lot of those points. You can read a lot into 3rd down. I think some teams are too reliant on it. That's when it becomes a problem. And that's where you could see sometimes season to season regression. But oftentimes, if a team's good on 3rd down in week 4, they're probably good for the rest of the year, like week 10, week 15. Usually it carries over. But there will be games where they just aren't as good. And how does that affect the team? Sometimes you're too reliant on it. Like, I feel a team like Tampa is too reliant on 3rd down.
That is a real thing, and they lead the league in it. And I do think they have a chance to grow, because Garrett Wilson and Aaron are going to get better over time. They found that rookie running back out of Wisconsin. He's going to get better over time.
Beast.
So that stat alone puts them at 9 for me.
Good study, Colin.
Number 8.
The Ravens. Listen, here's another.
Wow, we are like right in sync, Colin. I don't know if this is a good thing or not, but I have the Ravens Also at 8, I have the Jets at 10, the Niners at 9. So we're pretty much in line with each other. The Ravens are also 1 and 2, just as the Niners. Both teams preseason were ranked as top 5, top 6 teams in the league, likely by a majority of people. I thought the Ravens were impressive against the Cowboys, their ability to run the ball, stop the run, their ability to gain a lead. And then Lamar did his thing at the end, finding Zay Flowers, finishing that game strong. But you've got the fundamentals with this team, right? They're going to be able to run it. They're going to be able to stop the run. They're going to have really good coaching, situational coaching. They're going to have Lamar Jackson to carry the team in big moments. Where I'm a little scared of this team, the pass rush is a little suspect. I think the defense is a little overrated personally. And I do think that the passing game on offense is a bit hit and miss. And in those high leverage big games, they tend to disappoint. So that's where I would have them on the lower end of the top 10. I agree with Colin on this ranking.
Another stat. This is a flawed team. They lead the NFL in yards per play. Go ask the guys in Vegas who make a living gambling. That is a huge stat in the league. Forget the score in the Dallas game. That was an arse kicking. That game wasn't even competitive. They rolled that.
I hate how they let teams back in games, though. It scares me, bro.
Dallas. And Lamar Jackson, just look at his numbers this year. 318 yards a game. It's why I took him Sunday and why I'll always believe in this team. I believe in Lamar Jackson. He's not perfect. We have one quarterback in the league that's perfect.
Josh Allen.
Everybody else has a hole.
I hope he's talking about Josh Allen.
Lamar's my guy.
Number 7.
None of you like Philadelphia. I do.
The Eagles at 7. I actually have them higher than that, but I do think the Eagles are very flawed. It's kind of weird because I think the Eagles deserve to be like top 5 in your power rankings or top 6, but they're flawed. Like Hurts has been not great. The O-line is still really good. The run game's really good. Saquon's been incredible for this team, even better than anyone would have expected. They're doing it without A.J. Brown, which is a huge bonus. Dallas Goedert stepped up, right? But the defense, they had a good game against the Saints, but they have definitely shown their warts. Like in the secondary, their pass rush has been suspect. Their linebackers are suspect. I think their overall drop-back passing game and play calling offensively is suspect. I think Nick Sirianni is suspect. Kellen Moore to a certain degree. So this team is flawed, but so are the Ravens and a majority of these teams at the top of the list. But the Eagles are continuing to get it done. And when you look at their competition, they beat the Packers. They went to New Orleans, beat New Orleans. That's an impressive win to me. And they should have beat the Falcons. So with their only loss being a game they really should have won, it's hard not to put them in the top 6 or 5.
Now, Jalen Hurts.
That's why I think they're a little low.
Without Shane Steichen, too many turnovers. They got 1+ turnover, 18 to the last 22 games, and I don't love Sirianni. But good God, they outgained the Saints 460 yards to 219, and we love the Saints. There are just dudes everywhere. I love the owner. I love the
Yeah, they have really good players.
GM.
And I think Fangio finally did his thing against the Saints. He had a great plan, and they were really prepared and physical in that game.
I'm not a huge fan of the coach, but I like their players. Now, their A.J. Brown comes back. That's a difference maker here. So now their receiving core is banged up. But I think winning in New Orleans, the way they did, the resiliency, the toughness, just screams Philadelphia. And I'm a Hurts guy. He's flawed.
I'm not a Hurts guy, bro.
I don't think he sees the field at his height that great, but I'm a Jalen Hurts guy. I got the Eagles at 7.
Number 6.
The Detroit Lions, they finally figured out,
Lions seem low. They just went to Arizona and won. They played good defense. They're running the ball well. They're not even playing to their A potential, in my opinion. They're playing C+ Lions football, and they're still winning. Has it been perfect? No, but I still believe in them. You can't get too far away from the preseason expectation. They're 2-1, right? When you look at the Bucs game, again, they totally outplayed them. They had a Niners loss where they totally outplay the team and they lose. So to me, I'm not really going to punish them for that all that much. It was a playoff rematch against the Bucs. I think the Lions deserve to be higher here.
Oh, we have the best offensive line in football and 2 above-average running backs. Maybe we should run the ball more. And they just punched Arizona, a pretty scrappy team, in the face. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, that's the best running back tandem in the league. The best offense.
Is it? The Jets might argue that it's not.
Offensive line in the league. Just run the ball. Just run the ball. Sam
I love that.
Laporta's injury worries me. This is a very solid franchise.
Yeah, Laporta needs to get healthy, man.
Do I
Frank Ragnow also hurt.
trust them situationally like I would trust Kansas City in a big spot? No. No, wouldn't at all.
I actually kind of do. Am I weird for that? I kind of trust the Lions in a big spot. Like, they've proven last year to me that they're going to play with everybody. And they're going to go for it. Like, literally. So.
But I think they're a really good team.
Number 5.
Okay, the Seahawks with the same players.
The Seahawks at number 5? Bro, I think the Seahawks are good. But number 5, they beat the Bo Nix Broncos in week 1 rookie. They beat the Patriots in overtime. We saw how the Patriots played on Thursday. And then they beat the Skylar Thompson-led Dolphins. Let's slow down on the Seahawks. I know Colin's from Seattle, but let's slow down a little bit. I like the Seahawks a lot. I actually called them the dark horse of the NFL, the sleeper of the NFL, the team that's going to make the playoffs, and everybody's kind of not really predicting it to happen. But current resume, current product, skill points, I just don't see it. The O-line's still flawed to me. I like Geno a lot. I love the receivers and stuff. And Kenneth Walker's been out. They've been able to persevere with Zach Charbonnet. The defense, I think, struggled a little bit against the run. I just feel like they haven't been convincing enough yet. I still feel there's a different level to this team that they have yet to unlock, but there feels to be an inconsistency against bad teams that I don't like.
Have the highest graded defense. Now, they haven't played anybody, but I'm going to tell you something right now. When I watch Seattle, you know what I see? A little like Kansas City. I see a fast defense with elite guys at linebacker.
Did this guy just say Seattle's Kansas City?
In the back end. Now, again, they haven't played much, and we can bang on Geno. I'm as critical of Geno Smith.
Whoa, Geno's been good, bro.
As everybody. Dude is a completion machine. He completes 75% of his
He's accurate.
throws. He's not going to give you anything off script often, but he is they got a number 1 receiver. They got an edge rush. They've got
People need to start talking about what DK's been doing.
it's like Kirk Cousins. They move the chains. I think they've got weapons. I think their back end is outstanding. This new coach, Mike Macdonald, Baltimore's defense isn't the same. Why?
Wow, I'm shocked. Mike Macdonald's a really good coach. Who would have thought? Not BLV for the last 6 months.
The coach. They are really, really well coached on that defensive side with playmakers on offense. I think Seattle's a bit
Too high. But it's okay.
underrated right now. I have him at 5.
Number 4.
Is Matt LaFleur the second best coach in the league after Andy Reid?
Ooh, I'm just going to ignore that statement about Matt LaFleur. I think he's doing a great job. No doubt. I'm going to ignore that, though. He needs a little bit of playoff success first, bro. But the Packers. I like it. Packers are legit. Legit. D-line has improved. Defense looks really good. After week 1, they've turned it on. And they're winning by 20 points against NFL teams with a third-string quarterback in Malik Willis. Nobody thought Malik Willis was any good. They've got the receivers. They've got the O-line. They've got the run game. They can run it on you. They can throw it on you. They've got a defense, it feels like. This team could be the team in the NFC. I like this ranking a lot.
He is doing with Malik Willis.
I think they're better than the number 3 team.
Willis is insane. I feel I picked them to beat Detroit in their division. I just think this story with Malik Willis is fascinating. They also lead the NFL with 7 picks.
I didn't know that.
Been saying this for a decade. The only time
They did play Will Levis.
Green Bay's defense has ever been great, Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl. I always feel like they underachieve defensively, but they bring the head coach from Boston College
They were pretty good in 2014 too, and the Packers absolutely choked in that game.
They're young, they're fast, they're making plays. And this has not been a playmaking defense for a long time. And what LaFleur is doing without Jordan Love is notable. This guy he doesn't promote himself. It's little market Green Bay, but
Bro gets a haircut before every game. He does though.
I still think they're young in a lot of places, even at quarterback, but I like Green Bay a lot. I have them at 4.
Number 3.
I keep waiting for the bubble to burst, but Minnesota's good.
Okay, it's only been 3 games. The bubble hasn't bursted yet. It's only been 3 games, but hey, I got the Vikings at 5. I just don't have them above the Lions and the Packers quite yet. I just have more faith in those teams. We saw it last year. The expectations of them this year. I think the Vikings are good. Again, guys, like Vikings fans are like mad at me for some reason. I think the Vikings are good. I made a whole video in the offseason. They're underrated, all this stuff. People, don't forget about that, all right? But, again, who would I favor in a game with my life on the line, the Lions or the Vikings? Probably the Lions. The Packers or the Vikings? Probably the Packers, right? For me to say that they're better than the Eagles, the Ravens, the Niners, the Jets, all these teams, it's like, that's a lot of credit, is it not? I think what's most impressive about the Vikings is that they've beaten the Texans and the Niners, and fairly convincingly. So that deserves a lot of credit. I think they have the second best defense in the league. I think Sam Darnold's the most overachieving quarterback. And they're also doing it with injuries, which is impressive. But they've got great coaching, a good offensive line, balance on offense, good play calling. There's little to dislike about this team. There's little to dislike.
Here's the other thing. They lead the NFL with 16 sacks, so forget the offense. Every week it's a different player defensively, and they're not even healthy. I keep saying, Kevin O'Connell has coached the reckless out of Sam Darnold. I have 3 different general managers who have always told me, you can win a lot of games with Sam Darnold. There's a lot of people in this league. Bill Belichick talked about it yesterday.
I was just going to say, Bill Belichick even said that people like Sam Darnold always have. The Jets didn't.
Yesterday, outside of the Jets, everybody likes Darnold. And it's the offensive coaches that like Sam Darnold. Back-to-back home wins. They have hammered the Niners and hammered the Texans. And by the way,
they didn't really hammer the Niners, but they definitely hammered Houston.
I know Brian Flores hurt some feelings in Miami. Is he the best defensive coordinator in the league?
Yes.
Brock Purdy and C.J. Stroud are good quarterbacks. They both said after they lost to Minnesota, yeah, I saw stuff I've never seen in my life. It's like they saw UFOs. So I think Brian Flores, I know he hurt feelings in Miami. You got to give that guy a head coaching job. You got to consider him.
He's a good coach. I've been saying it for so long. People just take to his side, bro. Brian Flores was huge for the Patriots, man, in 2018. They went from Patricia to Flores, and that's the reason they won the Super Bowl that year. Do your research.
That dude can coach.
Number 2.
I know. Buffalo, Kansas
Nah, bro, they're number 1. I'm sorry. They got the best player in the league.
City's going to break their heart in mid-January. But Joe Brady is different.
Joe Brady has been phenomenal.
And here's the other thing. They're not as Josh Allen-centric. They're not. They've got a running game.
Yep.
They're even...
And their defense is good.
Josh Allen said it. Nobody's keeping track of stats. I like them. Are they going to beat Kansas City in mid-January? Probably not. But
it's hard to say that they will, to be fair. But, I mean, they definitely could have last year, and they were very injured last year. We'll see, man. We'll see. It will be a great game if it happens.
I do think this is the best version I have seen of them. I get a little older, Josh.
That's interesting.
They're not as Josh reliant, but you still get the details of Sean.
I kind of think they should make a couple trades just to kind of beef up areas of their team. I do think they should do that. Matt Milano should be back by the playoffs too, so that should help.
Dermott.
Number 1.
The thing that really is scary about Kansas City, so they've become New England now, is that they have a star quarterback and the best coach, but they're winning with defense. They're so confident situationally. I don't think people are giving this defense credit because
people are giving them credit. I don't think they give them the credit, if that makes sense. And I think that's incorrect. Based on the last 2 years, the reason they've been the best team is their defense. Like, yes, they have a good offense, but it's not the reason they're winning compared to what the defense has done for them. It's kind of like, like, let's say just throw some teams out there. Like the 2008 Steelers. They had to step up in the clutch, the offense, Big Ben, in that stretch run and that Super Bowl. But the reason they were there was the defense. The 03 Patriots, right? The defense was the best in the league. The offense was good, but then the offense had to bail them out when the defense had a bad game in the Super Bowl. That wasn't really the case with the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, but the case is you're built upon that defense being very good and then the offense being good enough and especially good in those high leverage scenarios where you're able to win. That's kind of what the Chiefs are right now. But I haven't been very impressed with them so far. I still have them at 2. They're 3-0. We'll see. We'll see if they can get better.
Outside of Chris Jones, they don't have a lot of big stars. Their defense is the fastest in the league. And Rashid
The fastest? That's interesting.
Rice has become a number 1 wide receiver. I
agree with that.
Not saying he's CeeDee Lamb yet. I'm not saying he's Jamar Chase yet, but he's somewhere in that galaxy. Now, here's the thing. They're the only team to start 3-0, and they've been outgained.
That's interesting. I didn't know that, but that makes sense.
Total yards to me is something. It's not, I think yards per play is bigger. I think third down efficiency is better. Hi, everybody.
All right. Well, there it is. Top 10 teams in the NFL, according to Colin. You guys let me know in the comments what you thought. Is Colin correct? Is Colin an idiot? Let me know in the comments. It's Mitch. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Deuces.